to get to the same place?
I mean, I would think of the sort of the basically the, I wouldn't necessarily say jump gate or wormhole, but think of them as sort of mountain passes. So some mountain passes are narrow and treacherous, and it's you can't go take a big truck up through the mountain pass, but maybe you can do it on foot. And some passes would be big and wide, and you could have a big heavy equipment go through. So kind of that's the same idea with sort of the various wormholes and jump points around the galaxy, is that they're rated between sort of like different levels. I think we're sort of talking about 3 levels. So there's the kind of cap ship level, which is the biggest. There's the sort of kind of medium level, which would be the sort of multi-crew ship, kind of sort of a freelancer or a constellation. Then there would be the level that would be for very small craft. And the idea is that the smaller, let's say we call the small craft level is class 1, and class 2 would be the medium, and class 3 would be the heavy ones. So the class 1 jump points, and a lot of times, will provide a route that can get from a destination quicker. So like you could, for instance, like, as Tony said, that like, maybe going, if you want to go to Sol from, I don't know, some other system, there may be a class 1 jump point that gets you directly there, but that's actually really sort of treacherous and can only a small ship can go. If you've got heavy cargo and you've got to run a whole sea and get the cargo there, you may actually have to take a class 3 jump to another system, another class 3 jump to the system closest to Sol, and then finally the final jump to Sol. So kind of what that ends up doing is it allows you to, there's reasons why, for instance, if you're a trader, maybe you're running a small ship because, you've got perishable goods or something that has to get there quickly, whereas if you're transporting bulk goods, then, maybe you take the slower route. So it's not too dissimilar to say what would happen with sort of a freight. You can air freight it, you can, put it on a ship, which is obviously slow, but you can move a lot of stuff at the same times. So that's kind of the idea with the jump gates is there's sort of different sizes. There are also different levels of stability. So some of the jump gates, will be less stable. So in the case of the design, we're going to have all the jump points. They're slowly going to go out of phase. So some will go out of phase quicker than other ones, and what that means is there will always be jobs for people that are sort of basically navigators. So one of the jobs we're thinking about is, you fly, you go through a jump point through the wormhole, and your job is to map it again. And so what happens is if I've bought the nav data from, say, the UE, Navigation Guild or whatever it would be, then I have the route that I would take through this jump point that would show up on my HUD, and it would show me which way to turn and what I would be doing. But that data is dependent on the navigation data being actually updated by people flying it blind. So like if you fly a jump point and no one's flown it, or you don't have the navigation data, then you don't have any hints of like where to turn, which way to duck around a corner and all the rest of the stuff as you fly. And you'll kind of see what I'm talking about when we show something at the end of today about how it's going to be. And so the idea is that you as a navigator would potentially have a job that you could, you're good at flying these things, you've got great reactions, you fly it, you map it, you get paid for it, and you're constantly sort of keeping the nav data up to date for everyone else that's sort of subscribed to get the nav data from this sort of UE, Navigation Guild. And then when you've got the nav data already, then it's sort of showing you it's sort of giving you the hints. So it's kind of like, in all cases, probably flying a jump point requires you to fly it. It's not 100% automatic, but it's either flying it in easy mode where it's showing you where you need to go, or it's flying it in hard mode where you don't have any hints and you've got to have good reactions.
And we'd also talked a little bit about the concept of being able to fail a jump. In other words, what happens specifically when you go a little bit, outside of the boundaries within which you're supposed to be, sticking, and some of the ideas that we were tossing around, where we kind of like wound up gravitating towards, is we didn't like the idea of basically making it such that if you wind up failing the jump, your ship is destroyed. And so where we wound up going...
No, you're killed. your ship may
No,
get destroyed.
and so where we wound up going was more depending upon how much of the jump you've already traversed, that's going to largely dictate where you wind up. In other words, if I made it through 90%, of the jump to a particular system, and then I miss, one of the curves at the end, and I get kicked out prematurely, I'm still going to likely be thrown into that system, but I'm going to take a bit of damage, as a result. If I only made it 10% of the way, through that jump, then I'm probably going to get, thrown right back into the system I came from, and my ship's going to have taken some damage along the way.
Yep.
Cool. Mark?